This conference will now be recorded.
The Cottage Grove Town Board will hold a public meeting beginning at 7 p.m. on Monday, June 21st, 2021 at the Town Hall, 4058 County Road N. You can also join the meeting by GoToMeeting. And we have a quorum present. The meeting was posted at the Town Hall and on the website. I'll call the meeting to order and we'll stand for the flag pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have the minutes of the June 7th meeting in your packet.
Would move approval with some corrections. Highlight the corrections quickly. Page 2, item D, last paragraph, last word. We heard from Damascus residents, there were 200 cars per hour.
About 250.
And on page 3, item E, first line, discuss is repeated.
Twice.
Yes, so strike the second discuss. Page 4, the top paragraph, item G, motion carried 302. Item H, approval of a certified survey map for a single lot on Square Road.
There's one other one, item D on page 2. I had the wrong person speaking. It should have been Darcy Ellisted at 4497 Bus Road, questioning about Bus Road and the dust. So
with that, I move approval.
Second. Motion by Williams, second by Duplay with the aforementioned corrections for approval. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Finance report and approval of bills.
I'll move approval of checks 34,726 through 34,751 be paid.
Motion by Duplay. Is there a second?
Yeah, second.
Second by Fonger to approve checks 34,726 through 34,751 be paid. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. You also have your unaudited cash and investment balance of $2,418,343.19. And you have the May building permits.
I'll move approval of the building permits.
Second.
Motion by Williams, second by Duplay to approve the May building permits as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. And the treasurer wants your per diems by,
Whenever you're done with them, but the latest would be the 7th is our meeting, so that morning. I can get them before I leave.
no,
No.
6.
6.
6. Okay,
Good plan, man.
anything else? That's it?
Oh, sorry, nothing else.
All right. Next item is public concerns, public's opportunity to speak from town board about any subject That is not a specific agenda item.
I just wanted ask the other board members for any recommendations that I can talk to on the Chamber
At
of
the
Commerce.
chamber?
Yeah. So any recommendations that you guys want to have, give me an update on, or I already talked to you about the Kennedy Heights,
Yeah, the two bridges,
the two bridges and
up off and Femrite.
and also the composting pile.
Yes.
Those are the only 4 things that I've got right now. So
Okay,
I would appreciate any help.
very well. Any other public concerns?
Hey, Chris, you might want to have them talk about the comprehensive plan update that we're undergoing that.
There you go.
Okay.
Comp plan that we're working on. Gary.
Yeah, just any updates on the barricades at each end of Damascus? Are they coming back whenever they're available?
Dan?
They can. Do we want them back out there?
Is there still issues of people?
Well, here's, just to give you a kind of an update. I don't do this every evening or morning or anything like that, but a couple of days a week, I've been just counting cars going through on Damascus for little half-hour increments. And to update last week's number, yeah, it was closer to about 240. I got on two successive nights before we had barricades. First several nights, the barricades, the numbers were significantly down. Okay, we had numbers, for example, that first Monday between 4 and 4:30, there were only 50 cars. Tuesday from 4:30 to 5, 81. Wednesday, 7:30 in the morning to 8, there were 70 cars. The biggest number that I've gotten actually were on days when the barricades were down. I had as many as 195 1 hour. Today from 4:30 to 5, 108 for half an hour. Of course, the barricades are down. So, and there's a sense from talking with my neighbors that they help. Okay, it's not like we understand that you can't keep everybody out, but there also is a sense that with them there are maybe 20-25% reduction in traffic down the road, and that's significant. That's helpful in our opinion. That was actually what we asked you guys to help us with. And I remember even Mike saying that he didn't think it was going to do all that much good. Look what happens on BB and so forth. And I said to him, look, if we reduce the flow of traffic by 25%, I'll consider that. On the days they're there, that happens. And so that to me also is a sense that, and the residents have a sense of, you know, as a matter of fact, the days that they come off, my neighbors on Damascus, they'll text me, they'll email me, call me, stop by the house. Hey, what happened to them, Gary? Are they coming back? And like I'm in the know, but so there's an appreciation that you guys have done something to help. Yeah, and fair number of the neighbors would appreciate another speed bump. And I noticed that's on your agenda to talk about tonight. So
What direction are most of the cars coming from? From Cottage?
it's pretty
Village or-
well split. And what happens, Mike, we see, you know, you'll see them, especially coming from Cottage Grove Road, they'll come in 3s and 4s. So like
Mhm.
At a
You would
stoplight.
expect at the stoplight, 3 or 4 people pull up, stop, and turn down. But one of the observations that when the barricades were there, you could walk up to the end of the road and you could see people see it and turn around, do a U-turn at the stoplight. Not everybody, but I mean, like I said, if you can reduce the flow of the traffic by 20%, that's a win. That helps.
No, you're looking at me.
Your comment?
Yeah, you turned out so illegal.
I don't believe there's a sign there.
There's
Is
no
there?
U-turns there yet.
Is there a no U-turn
At that
sign? I
intersection.
thought there was not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there might be, but what are you gonna do? So the day the barricades got put up, I almost got hit head on twice. Because if I'm on the right side and the barricade's here, someone making that turn does not see the barricade until they have to swerve out of the way, but then they're coming at the car at the light, which I had it happen on both ends. I understand the residents' concerns. They want to make sure that, the traffic is reduced. It's also a highway, or not a highway, but it's a public road. We have no legality to enforce anything with that. If I were to stop someone and ask, where are you going? That would be very, very bad. I can tell you, it has been reported to me that residents are vulgar to people, screaming at them, yelling, get off our road, things like that. When they're driving through, some people have places to go. Some residents are more territorial than others. So that was some of the problems that were reported. Now, the people that are going through Damascus, though, are not going through the construction. And that is what they're not supposed to do, is go through the construction. The workers are back there nearly getting hit nonstop. They're being screamed at to get out of the way by cars that are going through the construction. And now they were putting pipes in today, because I was back there. With the pipes going in, there's going to be holes in the road. Cars can potentially fall in. I stopped a car where a crane arm was swinging at somebody, and they didn't notice because they were trying to get through. The reasons for people that are going through are, I didn't know the road is closed. We can't handle that anymore. But if they're going on Damascus, they're doing the right thing. Like if they're going away from the road closed, like I said, I understand their concern. There is an excessive amount of traffic. But the other problem that we have is now that if we do put barricades up, like I said, we have zero grounds to enforce unless it's a traffic infraction. But it is now increasing traffic on northbound Vilas by like 150%. So, I mean, I sat on Vilas and it was car after car after car. Like if you want to come out of Lane or Valley, you might have to wait a few minutes because it's excessive on Vilas now. So I'm usually sitting out there. I'm sitting at the top of the hill on Vilas. I'll sit kind of and monitor the situation from Lane here and there. Problem is like I said, we can't be everywhere at one time. We go to Vilas, we get called to the construction. We leave the construction at Sandpiper and the stop sign runners. Then we go back to Vilas because people are getting screamed at for driving through. I don't really know what the solution to tell you is. I can tell you, like I said, with barricades, there will be no enforcement on our end.
Can you explain that to me? Why, if the town closes the road, why it's a closed road? If the town issues an order, this board issues a duly authorized order to close that road, why you can't enforce it?
Because they're going to get complaints that it's harassment.
That's the complaints that we get.
Because
Well, you're stopping people on another road that's closed, namely Cottage Grove Road.
Okay,
So-
but that's a different situation. The situation is Cottage Grove is construction. Legally, that's a road closed. It is completely closed. It's been closed
Well,
by DOT.
legally, if this board closes the town road of Damascus, it's a legally closed road.
But it's not closed because it said local traffic only. And how do we determine
Well,
what
you've got
local
local
traffic
traffic
is?
going up to Micah Zilke's place and Blair Dental also, that's local traffic only.
The Zilkes can come in because they live in the construction.
Well,
and they're
and
on the
people
other
who
end.
are in
Yep.
between Damascus can come in because they live in the subdivision.
That does not say local traffic only.
Well, then the signage needs to be changed. The point is, if this board closes its town road for safety reasons, and somebody's, with the traffic that's going through there, some kid's gonna get killed. And then we're all gonna be saying, why didn't we do something? It's gonna happen. There probably are 10 kids, preschool kids that live on Damascus
That's my
And there's a
favorite
park-
line
there's a
all the
park-
time. We always go to the, somebody's gonna get killed.
Well,
Well,
Mike, if it
tell me how
happens-
many have been killed.
Well-
What do you, that's like taking a towel and squeezing it until you're not getting water out of it and say, well, everything's good now.
It has no sidewalks. There's a neighborhood park.
We went through this when we put the speed bumps up, when there were like 10% of the cars going through there.
But we're not, we're dealing with
But this was the same line that came up then.
We're dealing with a high volume of traffic, big construction vehicles that don't.
Joe,
belong.
same line when you were here about the speed bumps, same exact line.
I wasn't here for the speed bump,
Well,
so
The line came up.
it's an untenable situation and something, and somebody's gonna get hurt. I'm telling you. There's no sidewalks on that road. That road is not designed for that kind of traffic. It's just not.
I did not like the road closed sign. I do like the local traffic only sign. I don't know. how we
One
can-
got stolen off already.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
And the other end, we've sat them up probably every day. We get 3 calls to set them back up. They either get thrown in the grass, they get turned around. Yeah, so we gotta babysit them.
So basically, we've got some bullies who are gonna bully us into not putting them.
Well, and
I mean,
I can't sit up there and watch them all day.
well, the neighbors can watch them. I mean, we'll watch them.
I don't
Well,
think there's
Kim
anybody here
came
that
up with an idea, the village should come up with a detour. If it's down to Wheelbridge or to Clark Street or whatever, that's what should be,
They
There's
should.
not a question in my mind about,
They
this has
have-
been handled poorly.
I agree.
They have a
County
legal,
says they
they
can't.
have a legal marked detour. That's all they have.
Yeah,
to
from
do.
Sprecher Road out to TT down to N,
It's the county's detour. It's
but
county
nobody knows
road.
this. Nobody, you'd have to go on the internet to find out about it.
We agree.
Yeah.
There's not a sign on the corner of Sprecher that says detour.
We agree. We
It
told them.
doesn't say detour.
yeah, the only detour signs are actually on N.
Yep.
Hey, can we work with the village to come up with a detour that's appropriate where there are sidewalks and
We met with them, the county and their engineer on Friday morning,
Yeah.
and we got told no.
I mean, Damascus is not equipped as a detour for, the
It's-
reasons
it's
that.
not a
And it's not
detour.
marked as a detour.
Right, so I have a friend who lives in McFarland and we were biking and then we went our separate ways and she came to my house and said, Sue, I don't know where to go. I have no clue what's going on. And I had to direct her to the back of Damascus and, out Vilas. So the average person has no clue where to go. And they're also going down other streets off of Damascus because they don't really know even that Damascus is through.
No.
There's a very young family at the very first cul-de-sac when you enter the subdivision. And the children there told me in their 1st and 3rd grade, that their father had to park their truck like across their own driveway because they had like 10 cars that would start down that cul-de-sac, recognize, oh, this doesn't go through, turn around in their driveway among their little riding vehicles. So, I just feel like the village had a responsibility to clearly mark where cars should be going to, safely
And we
move
agree.
around the construction.
Can I ask our
We
wonderful
had
officer
asked them
something?
to put,
Can we just take,
tourist signs down by the stoplights so that people coming there would then see them rather than all the way down at N or back up at the interstate?
That's what we asked. We asked them to put detour signs closer. If they do it or not, it's out of our hands.
Is there anything that
There's no,
residents in the town can do? I
Call
mean,
the village.
Call, email the village board.
Yeah.
I actually got an email from
They-
DOT.
That's what you need to
The
Yeah.
village board will not, we all know, they have no interest in responding to.
Well, they're not
town
gonna like
residents.
emails from me. I know that.
The only thing that this board has the ability to do is within the town. And we can say, we can try to work with the village, they won't work with you, the county won't work with you. The only thing our board has to protect our citizens in this town who pay taxes is to basically do something with the town roads, and that's Damascus. And yet you have the authority to deter traffic on that road. And the roadblocks appear to have deterred that traffic. And if the village residents don't like it, or people don't like it outside of, the town, it's tough.
And
They don't pay taxes in the town. They don't answer to you.
And I think a lot of people that are going down there are town people that are PO'd about it. And I get all kinds of messages from town people mad about it.
I'm getting a lot of.
It's not
compliments.
just 50% village. It's half the people in the town are PO'd.
I did talk to DOT. I got an email and they wanted kind of our take on things. And I said, you know, based on like the enforcement that we've been doing and this and that, they said, do you want more signs up? Where do you need them? And I said, well, one, the problem is if you go down to Sprecher, there is the sign that says road open to Vilas. And that says local traffic only, which confuses people because local traffic is only business within there, not if local traffic means if you live in Cottage Grove, you know, which is very misleading.
Yeah.
And I told them I would prefer, and I'm waiting to hear back, is if there was a detour sign when you come off of Vilas or when, like, because there's all those roads in between. They need something to direct traffic back the other way because people are driving through and then they're like, I don't know where to go. Well, it's holding the project up.
Yeah.
And the workers don't want anybody back there. They've made it very clear, we have a zero tolerance for anybody driving through. They are ahead of schedule on the project because of this. So as long as we're shooing cars out, hopefully you get your road back. I can see, definitely, I understand what you're saying as a resident. This is your road, you live on it. You didn't expect for this extreme volume of traffic. Like, I totally get that. But at the same time, we can't just close a road because we feel like it. You know what I mean? We can't enforce, it's not legal for us to take any action. But the reason that I know what you're saying, but I also can see the other side of it.
I don't live in Damascus, so for me, it
I
doesn't
think
affect me
people
that
hate the
much.
speed bumps enough that they're just, I'm sure you've probably seen the decrease over time. They hate those speed bumps, they'll find another way. I literally think that's deterring people alone. And there's less and less traffic back there, but there's still quite a bit. We just don't really have an answer until we have like a collective solution.
Yes, and I disagree that it's a public road and that you can't close it.
Mhm.
Boards in towns and villages close roads all the time for festivals. That's a public road. How do they close it for a festival? For a parade? They have the authority when they have the discretionary power under Wisconsin law to make decisions based on safety, property damage, potential personal injury, and so forth. And I mean, Mike and I can debate about whether or not somebody will or will not get killed on that road with all that traffic. I mean, that's a debatable point. And yeah, it does, boards use it all the time to try to close roads and do things where their safety is concerned. But it's a narrow road. It's a winding road. It's a hilly road. It passes through a subdivision. It's got a park on it. And there are lots of kids in that subdivision. And we've got 250 cars and trucks and construction vehicles and moving vans going through there in the morning and at night. Something's going to happen.
What would be your solution other than barricades?
This is what I was going to address to you.
Yeah.
So we as citizens just can't park 3 or 4 cars next to each other and block the road.
They're doing it at Wheelbridge right now, basically.
Well, we've got neighbors parking at
Parking on both sides of the street so people don't go down through the village.
I know you can't. block
Technically, it's
it.
illegal to park on the blacktop in the town.
Pardon, Dan, what did you say?
It's illegal to park on the blacktop at any time in the town.
I had a guy last night, I just took the dog out, I was walking along, thank goodness I was on the shoulder. Came around Aladar Way and I whistled and I just said, the speed limit's 25. I wish I would have been timing it, but I know he was in excess of 40 miles an hour going around that corner. And it's a sharp corner.
Then we went through this before, that
Yeah,
people misjudge speed by a lot.
yes.
But Joe and I we were kissing buddies yesterday.
We're still
What
kissing
happened?
buddies. By the way, I gotta send you that picture.
But so I tell everybody that call me, is go down to Wheelbridge or go down to Clark Street,
Progress.
period.
Well, Clark
And
Street's
or
gonna be
progress,
closed.
yeah. Well, now Clark Street's gonna be closed, so. And that's starting shortly.
Yeah.
Started today.
Yeah, so I mean,
Which one is Clark Street?
Right under the railroad tracks.
Clark's by Fireman's Park, the one
Oh, yeah. Okay.
right to the tracks
That's all getting reworked.
Yeah.
for the,
Well,
like
Grove
half.
Street.
So people that are coming, let's say from Sky High subdivision, all that, they'd be on Vilas the whole way anyhow. Because they come out Vilas right onto Cottage Grove Road. So how would that,
Well, they
Well,
they
Sky High, they
take
go down,
Gaston down to
they go down in.
Vilas and then over.
I talked to both the, and Joe was actually there. I talked to one of the village board members and And the town chairman, or village chairman or president, I talked to him yesterday also about these facts.
What was their
And
response?
they have compassion for what's going on, but they are only 2 votes, okay? There's 5 people that vote opposite, and there's where your power is. So call your Dane County representative. She's part of it.
Yes.
She's on the village board.
Yeah.
Get on your phone and call.
The county told us on Friday if they post any other additional routes for you to take, that becomes too confusing for the driving public to know where the official detour is. Because I had asked them, well, can't you just direct them down to Wellbridge or Progress? And they said, no. They have a assigned detour on county or state roads only.
Yeah, I get that, but the problem is they're not in places where
We asked
it
them
is
to
helpful.
put additional
There's
signs
nothing
out by
on
the
Cottage
stoplights.
Grove Road
Yeah.
that tells people driving down Cottage Grove Road, hey, you need to go back to N.
We told them that.
Yeah,
They,
and
if they put signs up, they put signs up. If they don't, then we can't make them.
And like, I mentioned this before too, the village has that little digital sign that's out advertising the concert in
And the
in
county's
one of the
trying to
neighborhoods.
get one of
And
those
they
signs
get 3 or
put
4
down.
pages of text on there. They could say, hey, please take this detour.
The county's trying to put one down there. They're done with their seal coating, so they have extra ones available now that they could move down onto BB by Damascus. So
That'd be
they're
great.
trying to do that.
Right?
I think we need additional signage to direct people where to go.
But, you could do that, but, everybody's got GPS today, so they drive up, anybody new, they're gonna go down Damascus, period. Because that's what GPS is gonna tell them to do.
Unless the road stays closed and people
Yeah.
and people
Closed.
identify that on Google when they're on Damascus, then Google will reflect that road is closed and it will not direct them there. But we have no continuity. The barricades are up for 2 days, down, up for a day, down. So we haven't had a chance to even deal with the road closed and get Google Maps to reflect the fact that the road's closed in its GPS navigation.
Well, they were only off one day last week, Wednesday. And then we took them
2
off this
days.
weekend because of the traffic.
Right.
We're not gonna,
Right.
a lot of out of towners, we're not gonna make them, so it was only off 3 days and today.
Today.
When they haven't been,
Well, 2 days last week and then,
Just
yeah,
for-
no, it
just the
was 2.
one day.
No, it was 2. It was 2.
it was
We took them down in the afternoon. We used them because we had culverts to replace.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were
Wednesday.
day and a half, maybe,
it was longer.
but it wasn't a full day. At 3:00, we removed them.
That's the only barriers we have in the
Yeah,
entire
I
town.
ordered 2 more.
Two more, but, yeah,
We've never needed them.
Yeah, you're right.
And the town does not own one of those little signs that tells you how fast people are going to be able to.
We do not.
observe or track that.
Too expensive.
They're about 15 grand.
Because there's one down on Vilas.
That's village.
That's
That's
the
the
village.
stick post, that they ordered.
Okay.
Does the county have anything like that that's available to request or no?
They
We do
do.
have speed boards. They're utilized in different areas, but we could see if we can get one out. They're really big. So, I mean, it depends on the ditch line, but the problem with putting it on Damascus is that Damascus curves and curves. So you're not gonna see speeds flashing up on there except for that one stretch just past your house where it's straight for like
Right.
5 seconds and then it curves again. But that's what I was telling you the other day or it was this morning I was talking to you where I can't remember, I can't keep them straight, but but I'm like, I showed them with my radar. I'm like, I can't even pick up a car that's coming around the curve. So I don't know how effective a speed board would be. The sign with a stick though, is that what you're talking about? That the village has, that they have on
Speed signs or they're
the speed
talking
ones
this-
that are like in the ground, but they're solar powered?
Those are 1,500 a piece.
Do you know, are the,
I've looked into all this already.
is the village police still enforcing or have they started enforcing?
They have police.
Construction?
Yeah,
Yes.
they have.
That is one of the things that I asked on Friday when I met with the village president and two of trustees and told them about the number of people that are contacting us that are concerned. Sadly, they said they aren't getting contacted.
Well, that
This
is
is-
surprising because I was told by one of them that they were called and said, why is there this sign on a village road called Damascus? People actually think, there's village people that think that is part of the village.
What about any other signs, like, what if we, installed 3 or 4 signs, slow children at play?
I have some on order, 8. So if you
8 of them.
they're coming. They're reflective at night and everything. I got them $35
I
on
mean, if we put them
Amazon.
at either end as cars are
And,
entering and throughout.
We're gonna put them up and down Damascus.
The signs seem to have deterred traffic, other than being vandalized and having some town residents who may not be happy. Well, I don't understand the downside to putting them back up. Even if you can't enforce it. If it deterred the traffic and cut the traffic way down,
We put them out there. It's not a big deal. It's just, we have an accident or not there at that intersection.
Yeah, there's been some close calls at that intersection,
which one?
at Damascus and BB.
Well, the good thing is
Stoplight?
they're turning.
Damascus and Vilas.
And then cars are turning and then they want to switch mid-turn and then there's a car making a right turn, well, there's a U-turn and then, like I said, I mean, I almost got hit twice on the first day, straight head on.
Isn't that in the village though? All those are, I mean,
We have
maybe an
a
accident
quarter
will
of
get
the
the village,
intersection.
maybe an accident will get the village to do something.
Well, like I said, I was contacted by DOT and I had told them what was going on and they had said, if you need signs, suggest where and what you want, and then we'll see what we can do. And like I said, if we have like a detour sign when you're coming off Vilas Road that shows like a bright orange arrow going another direction, they'll eventually figure out where they're going because there's so many streets in between. You've got all those streets in Madison, kind of not Grandview, but the other subdivision by that Quick Trip, Ruston Heights that, comes all the way down. And then you've got Vilas Hope and everything like that. If people know that they can't get through, because when the sign all the way back at Sprecher doesn't really deter anybody. And then a lot of the people that are coming in saying, I don't know how far the road was closed. I was just trying to see. And with the GPS, to touch on that too, people are showing me their GPSs, which say the road's open. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter what your GPS says. It's still closed, but it's not updating on everyone's GPSs.
You have to have enough reports of the road closed in order for them to update the system. And I'm sure that there haven't been many updates yet that the road's closed.
It's not a
So,
DOT thing where the DOT can.
It seems like we're worried about, all this stuff, accidents and so forth, and the village and the county are not willing to do anything. This board is the only one that was willing to try something. And now we're going to give up on that because the village and the county are snubbing their nose at us. If they have an accident, they have an accident. Maybe then they will do something, but.
But you were just saying that you're afraid of accidents on your road, but you're not afraid if there's accidents that are just off your road.
No, I'm worried about some.
Well, that's pretty much
killed.
what you're saying.
Killed.
Happens in the village.
The same thing.
And
Car versus
I don't want it
pedestrian
happening
is
in
a
the
lot
town.
different than a car versus a car too, I mean, that's the issue. It's not just
But
the
the
fact that the
motorcycle-
volume is greatly increased. It's the fact that that's a road that people walk on with their dogs, with their kids,
So is Wheelbridge and so is Clark
without
Street.
sidewalks.
Clark Street is the same thing. There's no sidewalks on Clark Street.
Understood.
Well, I'm just saying.
Progress in Wildbridge.
It's
Yeah.
also, so it's.
Yeah, Progress, Wilbur, Southern Gracie, all that.
We have a lot of complaints about Sandpiper area too.
Yeah, they're going through the same
They
basic
kind of
thing.
want the same thing done.
And you know what the crazy thing is? If you take the prescribed detour, it's going to take you 3 to 5 minutes longer in your commute each direction.
Yeah.
It's like we're going through all this craziness because people feel
think
so
that they need
inconvenienced
that 1 minute.
Don't inconvenience.
over
me.
that, 3 to 5 minutes. It's like,
And next year, the county's planning on doing from Sprecher
The bus.
Yeah,
to Blacktop and
Replace culverts.
culverts.
replace culverts.
So it's gonna be we're gonna go through a lot of the same stuff.
That's why it'd be good to see if we can come up with some ideas now, because this doesn't sound very short-term to me.
Well, they used to, what's going on right now, just looking at it today, they're moving. I'm
They're
telling you.
expecting to have to put
Yeah.
blacktop down the last week of July, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They're that far ahead now.
Yeah, I walked through it
Yeah, the
yesterday
week, the
morning.
week of the 27th or whatever he said.
They're expecting blacktop.
Yeah, that's a Tuesday.
You went through the detour walking?
Yeah.
What is the matter with you?
It was.
And demand.
Give that guy a ticket.
But you know what, Mike? I photographed 5 cars driving through there and sent them.
Oh, I see it. I live right there. I see it every day, you know, and they're out there. And we're not just, we just don't have our people out there. There's sheriff's deputies all over the place.
I know. I know.
Is that fines
I
double in
mean-
that too?
What's that?
Does the fine double in the construction area?
It's a lot higher, and it's higher if they're working versus if they're not. But
Right.
the one thing is they are out there on weekends too surveying, and people, there's no workers. Isn't this after hours? It's closed. No, it's still closed regardless.
Your
So
job must be thankful.
we'll just keep, oh no, we get, yeah, I've been called just about everything in there. So. But yeah, we're just, like I said, if we keep enforcing that and keeping that as our priority is getting, I mean, as much, I told Gary earlier, the people that are doing Damascus are avoiding going through the area where workers are gonna get hurt. At the same time, that's not the best solution, but they're not going through the construction. As long as those workers have that road where they are not having to worry for their lives and they can keep working, because we're helping them, they're gonna get done faster and you're gonna have your road back. At least until next year.
Well, if you people think more speed bumps are a good answer, so be it.
I have more people on both sides of
I
that
know.
issue than Heinz has soup.
You can't believe how much it's helped.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's like our only saving grace right now. Without
And
the speed
I
bumps.
agree. I got 4 stop signs. I'm willing to trade you back for my speed bumps. So
Yeah, I mean,
And I got another people over there, they don't want stop signs, stop signs, they don't want speed bumps.
Well, if
I
you
mean, if
please,
those speed bumps weren't there right now, this would be 10 times worse than what we're
Yeah.
experiencing. I'm
absolutely.
so thankful, and I so appreciate you added one this
So do you
season.
want me to put in permanent ones
Yeah, that'd be fine.
year round?
Yeah, can you
well, how's
plow?
that do?
You can't plow though, right?
No, there would be ones that go up and then they're flat for a while and then they go
Oh,
down.
those concrete
Oh.
ones. yeah.
Tabletop
They are,
or whatever they call them.
they're
Madison uses them and they're nothing. They don't stop anything.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And they're
Most effective
these are
speed bump.
No, I think
like $6,000.
to me, the ones that get complained about the most are the ones that work the best.
And I like the
That's ones we
openings
have
for
now.
bikers, you know, bikers can get through there and, you
Right.
know, our small grandchildren,
I
when
think I
they
call
bike
one
with
day.
us.
What?
I had a guy call one day, said they were like a parking curb. He said they're so rough.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, they're not though.
You go over them right, they're fine. Yeah.
I think that you need to know also though, that taking them out leaves a hole in the pavement.
Maintenance issue.
It's a maintenance issue for the town. Putting them in and taking them out
Right.
is deteriorating the road, which we then have to repair. So there are costs to everyone in the township with these speed bumps.
It's most of the people that live right next to them call all the time and complain about the noise.
The
So if you really like them, can we put it by your house?
We're off of,
we're on our way.
yeah.
Because that's.
Actually, the one that
Wouldn't
we
bother
want
me.
additionally, yeah, would be a house or two up from me. Absolutely no problem.
My house.
I volunteer and I guarantee you the neighbors that it would go in front of, well, Frank's one. Yeah,
Go ahead. Slap it in.
yep.
What was it? Herb Peterson's complaining?
Thompson.
Thompson.
If Dan's researched a price for those sticks that have the speed like the village has on Vilas, and he says 1,500.
Yeah, that's the one that needs power. Then you gotta buy the solar. I didn't look into that yet.
And we don't have.
We don't have power.
Because there's trees everywhere.
Like the village, they run charge packs or whatever. So they have like
5 batteries and they charge them.
I think we cut all the trees down.
Well,
I come in-
plenty, and along that long stretch where
think?
people really speed up, there's plenty of spots that don't have any trees whatsoever.
When I come in tomorrow, I'll look at how we can get the speed board out there and see if it's gonna make a difference, even if it's just one section of it. Just so people are aware, because a lot of people think they're being videotaped with those things and that,
Yeah.
you know, so if they believe that, then great.
Too
then
bad you
let's
didn't
do
have an
that.
extra car you could just park.
Yeah, well, we do overlap our shifts. Like Christina will come in and we'll just both be on at the same time for an hour or two here and there.
Couldn't we move the sign that's on Violet, the corner of Violet? Couldn't we move that back? Another, you know,
Yeah, that's,
so somebody could go in and turn around at the first
Driveway.
road there,
The whole idea.
rather than being right on the corner?
The whole idea of a barricade is to deter them from coming down it at all, because as soon as they're on it, they're not gonna turn back off of it.
Well, you don't know that.
Run it over.
You're telling me there's people turning around the corner right now.
No, they're just going past it at Vilas and
well,
Damascus.
actually, if you stepped it back a little bit, I do think it might help for some, when you've got cars going opposite directions, one that's trying to pull in,
That's why we put it
while
right
one's
out,
trying to pull out,
where you
it
can't-
gives them a place to go.
Otherwise, they do where they cut over and almost hit you.
Yeah.
Yeah, to me, right on the corner there, it seems to be scary to me. I don't know.
I did take a call from someone who lives in one of the cul-de-sacs who was worried about that her daughter almost got hit trying to get it into Vilas or into
Turning on to
Damascus.
Damascus off of Violet
Vilas.
because of the traffic on Violet.
Yeah.
Going
There's
just 45.
A sign, you're supposed to yield, let the person come off the road so you can go in safely.
Yeah,
People just don't know that.
well, I
Should we
think
put
that it
more
was
stop signs up?
it was nonstop though. I mean, it was cars coming
Yeah.
and,
And
you know.
Damascus, you're saying? That would be up to them, but I can tell you, if you had stop signs, people are just gonna run them.
No, stop signs don't work.
Yeah.
They do not work.
They
They
work.
work.
No, they
Come
don't. work.
on, come on, right?
The speed bumps, I think, you have the perfect road for speed bumps. I mean, if you gotta stick another one in there, you do, but other than that, I mean, stop
I did-
signs, I think would be very ineffective. Everyone's gonna
Totally
run
agree.
them.
I did ask Houston's about the sign on BB that's right past the corner, the stoplight. If they could change it, he said, that's the county. We had asked them that, and the county said it's gotta be where it's at because of the school buses. And I said, well, geez, the school buses are, school's out, But it would have been good if it was back a little bit towards the village, like by the post office or something. And then people wouldn't go up there unless it's actually local traffic going to the school. And then that some of the village people would be affected then also. Because if they're gonna go north, they'd have to go through the barrier to be local traffic. But that apparently ain't gonna happen either.
I did ask if they would take down the local traffic on, like, it doesn't say local traffic, it says road closed to through traffic. Because I said, you've got local traffic going down Damascus, the sign, and then you got the other one that says road closed ahead, local traffic only, and then that's by N, and then you got the other one that says road closed to through traffic, and people read it completely opposite. Road open to through traffic. I don't know where open is, it's not on the sign, but they think they see it. So it's leading to more confusion, because then you eventually run into road closed. So if they can change that local traffic with DOT to road closed ahead, people would probably be just directed away from that altogether. And like I said, if DOT steps in and does what I've asked, if they do, I don't know if they will, but if we can get detour signs that turn you back around, because like I said, you have to consider all the side streets, people are coming off, people are doing cut throughs, and all of a sudden you're on the main road and there was no detour signs because you didn't pass any of them. If we can direct people back, we can get them off Damascus.
All right, we're going to move on. Are there any road right of way permits?
One. Line Energy wants to do the underground line in the Sky High Crestview Drive area. They're gonna have all power poles. They're gonna do everything underground, replacing that A1 line, just like they're doing on American Heritage.
That's what I was saying. It's faster. They put a bunch of this. at the top.
JD already called me, asked me where he could put his pads. I said, hasn't got approved yet.
JD.
Yeah. They just delivered the ones out in American Heritage this week.
Okay.
I would move approval of the Alliant Energy for Sky High subdivision.
Yep.
Second.
Motion by Williams, second by Conger to approve the Alliant Energy road right-of-way permit in Sky High subdivision. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Moving on to review May police activities.
If you ask Steve Anders, he'll tell you what stands out with the stolen vehicles in front of his house. But other than that,
Yeah, we all saw that
yeah,
video.
nothing since then as far as stolen. We did have that stolen, which we've told you that came through before, and they had people getting out of the car and just looking for unlock. So just want to remind everybody to keep locking your cars. If you know, if your car's locked, they're not going to waste their time as long as there's nothing in plain view that's valuable. Most of them just don't want to make any noise. They want to do their thing and move on. So
Any idea so far this month how many speeding tickets you've given?
speeding, I don't know, quite a bit, but more construction than anything.
Yeah. Okay.
We know that court has like 80 defendants for July and they're running into August already. Vicky is inundated.
I did have a discussion with your lieutenant about training you guys for
Weight limits.
weight limits. I haven't heard back from him.
Well, he had talked to me about it. He said Troy Larson wanted to come up with some dates to just go over stuff with us because there are no deputies that are trained in that at all. So I wish that I could tell you how much a truck weighed, like Dan can when they drive by, but you know, unless he tells me. And then I know French had taken him down to the weigh station to do weights for things like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, if Troy just works with us probably 2-3 hours or something like that, I'm sure that we'll have a pretty good grasp on it and he'll teach us how to use the scales.
I'm assuming you don't see that as a problem for you.
Nope, because there will be shifts that his overlap with mine and I can just meet him.
Right.
So, or if he's gonna train, and Christina will do it too, and
Yeah.
Brian will do it too. So
Okay.
we'll try to find a day where we can all just meet him and work on that.
Yeah. Schedule it and see that. it
Hopefully in the near future. So I'll let you know when I hear more.
happens. Okay.
Other than that, I don't have anything else that's significant.
All right.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Moving on, discuss and consider awarding a bid for the Janelle Road cul-de-sac project. And we got the letter from Nick.
Recommendation letter. So, yeah, we opened bids this past Thursday at 2:00. There was one bidder for all the individuals and contractors we talked to. Overall, there was 10 contractors and subcontractors that did pull bids, but only one submitted, which was RG Houston. Overall, they came in at a price, a base bid of just the work at the end of Janelle Lane, that cul-de-sac was for $74,580.55. We also did go out to bid for some supplemental bid items, which are potential unforeseen conditions that may be used, but you lock in the price. One particular one, there's boulder retaining, some boulder retaining walls, some block retaining walls. We got prices for that. Its intent right now is to replace those with a modular, a stronger, more durable retaining wall. But if it's something talking to the residents and also the opinion of the township, if you want to keep those, you have a price in play for the contractor to remove them and reinstall them. So that's what the summary of the supplemental bid items are. So it locks you in a price instead of coming back and discussing it through a change order at a future time.
Yeah.
And your analysis of this bid is that we should do the supplementals as well?
Yep, because it's purely you pay for what they install.
Yeah.
So if they don't install or don't use it, you don't pay for it
Okay.
at all. So this is a contract that's set up for the item, what per item. So when they put 10 tons of asphalt, they supply the tickets, they get paid for 10 tons of asphalt. And then any restoration that's out there that's done, or the retaining wall, it's all measured up and it's per unit price for everything.
And so, yeah, what's the magic amount that we have?
You have about 230. That in an assignment could be spent.
We can still spend 230
For,
And still remain with
Within the
25
Yeah.
left.
what do you mean for the cul-de-sac?
Yes,
We have that in our road budget.
for the building of it.
Yeah, that's why we did 350 this year. Otherwise I would have spent all that on paving.
Is it all?
$350,000.
I had to find it in here.
So I think we did a rough figure of like 50,000, we thought.
Yeah,
But-
originally we came in around that 50,000, but after designing the retaining walls and plus we added a guardrail for safety for that house on the bottom side, those increased the costs quite substantially because of the amount of retaining wall and guardrail. That was the biggest increase.
It's at the very bottom of the public works section. Five to 300 or something like that. 52,000.
Yeah, we had 350, and how much are you spending on seal coating in the
Seal coating's on its own line. Overlay,
overlay?
Yep.
Was 220.
224 or something like that.
Weren't you adding on for additional?
Well, if we had room, but this was on there too, because that's why we did 350 instead of 300 like normal. So I'm saying you don't
So
have to
you could
take
still
undesignated.
have-
Well, we need to take some, wouldn't we?
No,
No.
You think you're okay?
Well, as of right now, I can get everything done I wanted done on my list. I mean, I'd love to do more,
you
but
might have a little left more.
you know. Yeah, because out of the 350, if I figured it even 80,000, I had 270,000 left to spend on the road work. So that's, 50,000, roughly 50,000 more than what we got quoted or bid for our road work, so. I mean, we have the funds in our budget.
Well, we,
Yeah, but we would probably have to add just a little bit to cover all of Janelle and the supplemental.
Yeah, I mean, if we end up using it.
but maybe we could go ahead and, if we take it out of where we've got it budgeted, maybe we can buy
Put
8 or 9 speed signs, or worth, you know what I mean? They're expensive, but maybe it's worth,
Yeah, the little ones.
yeah, the little ones.
$1,500
yeah.
ones. I mean,
Get the, the solar.
For this, for the total of base bid and supplemental, it comes to that 85,000 some change. We still would recommend a 10% contingency just for unforeseen conditions. Let's say they start digging up, they find a pile of garbage down there that they have to haul out and bring in different fill. So it's always, not saying you'll use any of it, but just another safety factor as well. And obviously it may not be used, but.
yeah, I just want to make you aware that we did budget some for it, so. Whatever you guys want to do.
And with him, if we go over down the way and he needs a little extra, we can do that later.
You can come and ask us
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. So we're okay then, I guess.
Yep. So we need a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Flanders, second by Williams to approve contract for RG Houston Company for the Janelle Lane cul-de-sac. Discussion?
So it's the 80, you're approving the up to 85, 476, 55 plus a 10% contingency.
10%
Yeah.
contingency. 85, 476, 55 plus 10%.
Okay.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, discuss, consider approval of the 2021-2022 alcohol beverage operator license applications received after June 7th of 2021.
So there just was one more. I did give you the list of all for last time because I don't think that was in your packet. But there's just one that has come in since then. She is a new applicant. Everything is in order as far as paperwork and background check. So it's just the first one there for Nora's.
Yeah, at the top, Lisa Broderick,
Yes.
Nora's Tavern.
Yep.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Motion by Duplace, second by Williams to approve all.
No, the rest of all.
Just the rest of them for Lisa Broderick
Yeah.
at
Yes,
Nora's Tavern.
the rest were all from last time.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item is discuss, consider approval of 2 certified survey maps for the Galerowitz Trust on Gala Way associated with the rezone petition 11668.
So this was the rezone that was adding area
To the
to
back of their lots from that wooded.
back of the lots, and because there were, was it 8 lots?
Yeah.
It has to be
Yeah,
divided
5.
into 2 CSMs.
That was a little confusing. I was trying to figure out what, I know we were gonna add to the back, but this really doesn't tell you.
No.
Anything.
Because that was the rezone, and now this is the
Yeah.
actual land division, but there's the
Certified survey.
4
Yeah.
lots on one survey and 3 on the other.
Thank you. I drove over there and I was still confused, so thank you.
So there's nothing like building more houses, nothing at all, right?
No,
Just adding land to the,
yeah, they're all still under an acre in size.
Yeah.
0.802, and I think is the largest one.
mhm.
So this will be done just ahead of the
Motion to,
assessment.
Yeah.
motion to approve the 2 survey maps.
CSMs.
Yeah, CSMs.
I don't know if there was a number on them.
I don't think there was one.
Drawing number 5661-20 and yeah, that's the same number on both of them. Dated 6/7 of 2021. So motion by Fogger, second by Duplay to approve CSM drawing number 5661-20 dated 6/7 of 21. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Update and discuss consider requirements for Kennedy Hills Phase 1 completion. Everything's going well. I hear you might be done by the end of the month. Is that right?
That's what they were talking about today. There'll still be some pond seeding for the weekend, but
Should be able to meet substantial completion then?
Yeah, if it's done, I can usually take a look early next week and.
Issue the letter.
I think you were there yesterday or no, not yesterday. Friday.
Thursday.
Thursday.
I believe it was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday I was there. I swung through. So, yep.
Anything I should know or?
No, we discussed the punch list. Everything's moving along as progressed and nothing that comes to mind.
I hear your work on BB. You're gonna be having some blacktop this week.
I think Thursday, they were peeling up the old stuff today and they're gonna grade tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday, they're gonna repave and then they'll be ready to
Move over to the other side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nick, there weren't, that complaint that we had about the outlet from the pond, that didn't amount to anything?
No, I looked at it right before I came here. They put some extra silk socks there, but yeah, it was fine in my opinion. So just some additional protection they added.
Moving on then. Discuss future use of speed bumps. As we've discussed, we have 4 against, and then we have the maintenance issue. What is our policy going to be moving forward if we get a request from someone that they want one? I've had a request from somebody up there by you wants one, even after we put in the stop signs.
I know. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
You know, with the guy on the corner from me, he's refused to say that speed bumps slowed anyone down.
Yeah.
You know, and I can hear when a construction vehicle goes over that speed bump because it rattles right through your teeth.
Or the garbage trucks.
Yeah. Well, the garbage trucks, not so much because they move so slow.
Yeah.
You know, but the stop sign does absolutely nothing. Just encourages people to ignore stop signs. Sorry. That's just my opinion. And I'll hold it forever.
So do we want to continue using these ones that we put in basically for the spring and summer and fall? They come out for the winter and then we repatch the holes before we put them in again? Or do we not want to put them in and put up stop signs, or do we want to put in permanent ones?
I don't think permanent is the way to do it. I think you have to force the drivers to slow down, and that's what the speed bumps do. The stop signs do not. All that does is encourage people to speed through, although at a slower pace, so that they can say, well, I slowed down and saw that there was no traffic, so I could continue on. But
A stop means stop.
yeah, and that's, you know, like I said, I'm a firm believer in speed bumps, and those seem to work. And I agree that it's a high maintenance issue for our road crew, you know, because no one wants to go out there and fill holes and do all that nonsense that we have to do for the winter.
But see, they're still saying that speed bumps don't work really.
Well,
you know what I mean? You know, they say they work, but then it's, well, they speed up and then they come to it and they slow down and go over and speed up again. And
Well, they're always going to speed up after they
Well,
go
sure.
over because
Obviously
it's
they are,
slowed up.
yeah.
Yes.
I think we just keep doing what we're doing,
yeah, I
play
agree.
it by ear.
And, you know, we're gonna be stuck in the same position, 50.1% for it or against it, and 49.9% just voting the opposite way.
I would just say that before you place them, you need to talk to whoever lives there and make sure that they're on board. And if they're not, you better talk to the people that are asking for it and ask them to convince them, because otherwise we'll continue to have this game we're playing now where,
Yeah.
you know, well, I don't want it by my house. It's noisy. Can't you put it by the neighbor's house?
Yeah,
And, you
And
know,
then he complains.
Yeah,
It's
that
gotta
was
be-
going to be my next point. Do we want them to go through the entire neighborhood and get signatures as to it's okay or it's not?
Well, I don't see any way around that.
I mean, obviously, everybody doesn't live by a good spot for one
No.
either. But when you put it in, if those people don't like it, all you're gonna do is hear complaints from them.
That's right.
But who is not satisfied on Damascus that they're there? Is there anybody that's against them?
Well, the only person I know, her mom lives in the subdivision next to the park. And so she comes in and I've seen her complaints on Facebook about it. But other than that, that's our only neighbor that I've talked to. And I've talked to plenty who want, like them. My experience, Mike, is where we get the speeding is in between them. Going over those speed bumps, people who go over them without reducing their speed very much do it one time. Okay, the next time I get people who go through there with any kind of frequency or who live there, they virtually stop going over them. And so to me, that's a successful speed bump. And yeah, one of my neighbors, Frank here, who was here tonight, yeah, he wants one right in front of his house. And I know his neighbor next door is in approval of it. And I know his two neighbors across the street. I talk to them all the time. And yeah, they want one, an additional one right there.
And we have one person living on the road that lets us know that he doesn't want it.
Well, one out of how many?
Yeah.
Well, if you've ever, we were fortunate to go to Dubai years ago, and they have by camera, and you see all of these hot cars, 120 miles an hour and slow down to 55. As soon as they go through that trap, back up to 120 miles per hour. It works. The speed bump works. Or in this case, cameras, it did.
Right.
I was a little bit PO'd coming here tonight because the guy in front of me absolutely stopped in front of him and went over both. It didn't even go through the part with where the gap is to let one wheel and then the other wheel only hit. I thought, oh, geez, Louise, just drive. You go over 5 miles. You don't have to come to a complete stop.
Do you want him taken out now?
No. That's not what I'm saying.
But he's attesting to the fact that people slow down for him.
So Nick, you know what kind we're using right now currently? Have you seen those?
I believe are the ones that are like, they're black and probably yellow and staked in, yeah. There's obviously multiple different ones. For how aggressive you want to get will determine how much they slow down. And that's where you're getting at for those speed tables too, where those aren't as aggressive as a speed bump. And there's other ways to slow down traffic as well, but those include costs like pinching the roadway down or having bump outs at intersections.
That makes problems with the snowplows.
Yeah.
There's always it's a cause or effect.
Cul-de-sacs.
Yeah.
So
I'd also say
there's
that
really nothing else speed bump wise that we could do that would be more permanent but be effective.
You know, we've done it at intersections where depends where it is, but you're pinching down the roadway. So when someone's driving, it's claustrophobic or something, they slow down because they feel, especially if it's oncoming traffic, that two vehicles are coming, the roadways.
First 2 times that they've driven it.
You know, so it's just timing too. You got to time it right when another vehicle's coming. Otherwise, they're just going to squeeze in the middle of the roadway. But if someone's coming, they're really going to slow down because they feel that roadway is pinched, even though the lanes are adequate to hold both vehicles. That's another effective method. And another is again, coming back to the intersections, having those like mini roundabouts, but you can drive over them. That'll slow instead of a stop sign. People just get used to them. They become more like yield signs. This is another way, instead of adding stop signs, they're a way for traffic to slow down. So there is ways to slow traffic down, but it depends on how much money you want to spend, but also the location of it too, to determine what method you want to use.
So if we're going to continue using these removable ones, do we want to say that if someone calls and says they want one, that they have to go, I don't know, 200 feet in either direction of where they want to put to get the residents to sign off
Yes.
on it as being okay before we will install one?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't see any way around it.
200 feet,
Yes.
too much, not enough? You know, I don't know.
I think
What's
100.
doing?
as long as we can be grandfathered in.
Pretty much everybody likes the 3 that we have in there and the locations, because they have moved over the last couple of years each time.
Locations are perfect.
Right. And we actually just want the one more, and I think you have us pretty happy.
We've been asked to move the one by the park towards the Vilas further. But we haven't asked the other resident yet.
But then the majority was
And was there a reason?
in or
The
not?
2 houses, well, the one guy's house, Herb, right there. And then people that live right by the park said they can hear it really, really good too.
Oh, all right.
Is that Sellers?
Yeah, no, that's Doucette's.
She let the guys know when they were mowing the parks one day. She asked if they could be moved.
So the next time we get a request for it,
Younger
we're gonna
woman?
say that
That was
we go
over.
200 feet on either side of where you want us to place it to get the neighbors to
Agree.
agree or
Agree in writing.
disagree in writing.
Yep,
And majority will rule.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any way around it.
Okay.
How do we make a request for an additional one?
You just heard it.
Get it right.
Oh, well, no, that's how you get it, but I mean, how do we initiate? We,
To get an additional one,
yeah,
just by what I said. You pick out where you want it, and then 200 feet on either side, you get the residents to say, okay.
all right, and do they need to show up at a meeting or?
You just need it in writing with their address.
Oh, all right, gotcha.
You
The
can,
signature.
yeah,
Gotcha. Will do.
signature with their address so that we know you went the appropriate distance and that they did live there,
Okay,
and that they're okay with it. Then we can approve putting a additional one there or on any other roads that come up that they want them.
And we want 200 feet in each direction.
Each direction, yeah.
We're gonna do that wherever they
Damascus-
ask for them.
Pardon?
You're gonna allow that every place that they ask for them?
So it's still got to be approved by the board.
Right, and we have a budget, you know.
Yeah.
Just because somebody wants one, then.
We'll consider it.
Yeah.
Okay.
At the existing three on Damascus though, since they're already there installed and taken care of, is that okay just to continue as is?
They're in.
yeah,
Except for
good.
that one.
Those
that you-
three are in.
The three, yeah.
If you want a fourth one or a fifth one,
Then
then we're going to go through this process so that I guess we at least feel that majority of those residents that might be affected by it are okay with it.
And what about the one that we already have 2 complaints and a request to move? Are you gonna leave that there? Or
It's,
Johnson?
I told him it stays there for the year for now. I know he wants it gone,
Yeah.
but it's helping with the traffic. And I'm not making more holes this season. I told him that already, so
Yeah.
I'm sticking to my guns on his for this year.
Okay.
And that's right in a a park zone, 15-mile-an-hour speed limit zone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Moving on, just discuss changing the minimum width and usage for new town roads. So with all of the calls that we've had, I thought that maybe we should talk about what we want for width in new town roads. And do we want to add additional paved area? You call it a walking path, a bicycle path, or whatever, but have it maybe lined where we get complaints that there isn't a place to walk in a subdivision. And I guess I'm assuming you don't want to have them start installing sidewalks and curb and gutter.
No, but the issue is that, you know, if you put it on just one side of the street, there's gonna be idiots that are gonna use them both ways. It doesn't
Well,
matter.
then you make up the decision if you want it on both sides. I thought we should have the discussion before maybe the next phase of Kennedy Hills comes in. And because we're gonna have to start somewhere.
No, I'm fine with this. I'm just curious, so do we have any alleys? I don't think we do we?
no, this is just what the
Oh, okay.
No.
land division ordinance says.
We've got some roads that are really narrow. But not
Yeah,
alleys.
but those are
The
old roads.
roadway, it's not the right of way.
Yeah. And our minimum or maximum or whatever width or whatever right now is 24 feet paved.
Which is more than what is probably in Meadow Grove subdivision. I don't think they're
That's
24.
23, I believe.
Are they?
Yeah.
So it's a foot that we've added somewhere along the line, do we want to add any more width to that paved area for bicycles or walkers? If it's paved and it's right next to the roadway, it would be easy for them to plow in the winter time.
It is. Legal bike path or bike lane is minimum 4 feet.
We almost have to have it on both sides.
So that's 8 feet.
Well, yeah, I mean, even walking, you have to have it on both sides. Even walking, you gotta go be against traffic, you know?
That's
Bikes
30
is with traffic,
That's
so
32 feet wide
I don't know. I just,
paved surface.
every time I go to Madison, I see all the bike paths on every street and the wasted money that's on the roads that you never see anybody walk, you know, plus sidewalks there. Though that's a little different ballgame.
Road to maintain becomes more expensive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
I'm a walker and I would love to see it. Just saying. And I do see bikers in Madison, Mike, so.
Well, some. I'm talking side roads, that every road they build has a bike path. Period. And you can drive, you can be on sidewalks with a bike, you know.
Another thing is too, we have 66 feet of right of way.
Yeah.
You have 32 feet of blacktop. How do you fit your ditch in there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big problem.
You gotta have water erosion control.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why I think you might have to
go to the
go a little
80
higher right of ways.
80 feet.
You could do that.
10,
Yeah.
Or 100, make it easy.
That's not on the list.
Now, we're talking new development, right?
50/50,
Yeah.
We're talking new development.
New, yep.
Right.
Nothing that's pre-existing.
We're not talking pre-existing here, so.
No.
you know, Subdivision,
So it'd be like right now at the second phase of Kennedy
Yeah.
Hills. Would we want to make that paved area wider
a little wider, yeah.
or not? I mean, we don't have to. I mean, we've heard a lot recently about walkers and
That's why
being on the roads.
it's a shame the guys from Kennedy Hills aren't here still.
Oh, he wouldn't want to pay for it.
Because that's exactly
No.
what I meant. That's exactly what it
I mean,
is.
who's gonna be using it? The people in the subdivision.
Right.
You know, so it's not like it's gonna be 1,000 people driving down the roads, you know?
I mean, I would say I would be for it for subdivisions for sure. I mean,
What, the 80 feet?
yeah, and the wider road surface. As a town resident and a worker.
That's where you live, it doesn't affect you then.
Well, no, but it'd be. in
Well,
my
get what I'm
backyard.
saying. I
It'd be in
mean,
my backyard, eventually.
I would bet people moving in there would care less about it.
I mean, at some point, when we have to rebuild some of these roads, we may want to look at
Widening.
Adding a little more,
changing the ditch line
yeah,
and
no, I agree.
and widening it on one side or both sides.
Well, I think we'll be able to see that when we see the finished bus road. Before we make any decisions on how it's gonna work there. They're taking out all their front yard, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so I mean, it's still at 33 feet, but it's not right, but you know, they're gonna spend $1 million on that road. 1.2 million, you know,
Yeah.
1.3.
well, it probably is 1.3, but that after they do all this stuff
Mhm.
that they're doing right now.
Then let's just move it to 80 feet. And in Kennedy Hills and, you know, they chose to leave the meeting and,
What
oh,
is it?
well.
Well, this is these are your minimums, but, I think,
We would have to change it in our subdivision standards.
or do you, if these are the minimums, can't you go more? You know? I don't know if you'd have to actually change your ordinance or if you could just do more for that
Yeah, that's what your
particular
ordinance said.
application of it. I don't know.
That's what I would think, that's what your minimum says in your ordinance, that you'd have to approve it. It's always better, the developer's always gonna do the minimum
Yeah.
that they
Yeah.
can because they're in it to make them a penny.
Making money.
Yeah,
Well, I would imagine that when they redo BB, they're gonna add bike lanes in.
Oh, yeah, county roads.
There's not a question at all about that. So, I
County
mean,
roads always have bike.
so you're gonna have bike lanes on the main road.
Right.
You're gonna have bike lanes on bus, obviously,
You're gonna have sidewalk.
sidewalk. You could ride a bike on the sidewalk, you know, you don't have to have lanes, but me, you know, they're gonna do with 66 feet on N to put in bike paths. Right?
They may
That-
put it on the east.
Well,
side
what I'm saying is
where
that
they take
that
more
right away,
right-of-way.
that road at 66
On bus, you
feet,
mean?
no, on BB.
On BB? That's-
Yeah.
Doesn't the county have 100?
County road's 120.
120, yeah. They have
From the
60
center line?
They have 60 on each side.
That can't possibly be in front of my house.
We did that sign, you found that
Yeah.
out?
Well, they put it on my land. Actually,
Part of it.
how did it end up on my land? That
Yeah,
was
we
the
measure
weird thing.
across, it should be
Yeah.
120 feet there.
It wasn't in the middle. I don't think the road's in the middle of that right away. That was
Probably
what
not.
happened.
Yeah, well, that is not, you're correct there. That is not, that road is not
Center.
center. So I don't know how they're even gonna do what they're
So you
doing.
get the new blacktop driveway when they get done with this?
Yeah. That's gonna work good.
Well, then you can put.
I think it's something to think about.
Yeah, maybe when Kennedy Hills comes in to get their streets all made, we mentioned this, that we're considering this.
Yeah, something new.
Going to 80
Yeah.
feet.
Yes.
What for
Yes.
pay?
Yeah.
What would
Well,
you,
32?
That'd give you enough for a bike lane on each side.
yeah.
I will say that prior to the pandemic, it was mostly my husband and I walking. Since the pandemic, we talked to lots of our neighbors and
Yeah.
we're walking.
Yeah, we see people now we never saw before. It's kind of nice.
It is, it's great.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll let it drop for now, but do we want to talk about it before he comes in with the next phase or?
Yes.
I think we might want to mention it to them.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
at least mention it, that we're thinking about it.
So do you think you need to change your ordinance or do you think that's what I'm not
Change your
following here.
minimum.
Or these are minimums, so don't you have the discretion to say higher than a minimum? You know, that it absolutely has to be this, but couldn't you say, or do you have to change your ordinance and say all new local streets are gonna be 80 feet? I don't know.
He's gonna fight back on it if it says 66. I could see from a developer or engineer perspective, if it's a main corridor, like you're gonna have a lot of traffic or a lot of development distance, your main corridor where everyone's gonna be going or taking to go to work, where that's where you typically expand your right of way. And that's what they're gonna be fighting back and using as their argument. I can see it now saying like, well, why do we have to do all these? at
No, I agree.
80?
That's a good point,
Yeah.
If the main arterial going through there would be that big, I
Well,
could
and
maybe
that-
see,
that
but the
would
side
be-
roads,
That would be considered in our ordinance as standard arterial and collector streets. Those
Right.
are 80.
Oh, you do have that,
But
okay.
then local streets are 66. So do we need to change the ordinance and say that new local streets need to be 80?
It would make your argument easier when you're talking to not even the Kennedy Hills, but any other, because they're always gonna be using the ordinance that you have set in place and saying, well, you have 66. You gotta give me a good rhyme or reason
then-
why you have to
And
go
then the
80.
next street is called a marginal access street. I don't know what that means. And that also is 66. So
Be a dead end.
I think that would be like Nightingale or.
That'd be, I would think that would be like a dead end coming onto that.
okay.
So the question is, do you want to add the extra width to the road for walking path and or a bike path, or do you want to add sidewalks?
I don't think.
once we start that.
I don't think sidewalks fit in with the whole town.
I don't either, but.
It's
so hard to
I think this would be
Ask about that. Why can't
the
they?
town
Yeah.
feel.
Because they're gonna have to have curb and gutter then, and then you gotta have the storm sewers or whatever else goes with that.
You have to tube it all, yeah.
Yeah.
The ditch has to be tubed.
You could put a sidewalk in without having curb and gutter.
You can, it depends on the lay of the land. It's, my opinion, I'm looking from outside in. If I was gonna move out in the town, my mindset, well, I want it more rural versus
I agree.
urban.
Totally agree.
So I'm thinking, I don't wanna be shoveling a sidewalk. That's just my perspective. of when I
Exactly.
think in the township versus
And that's why
village.
if you put it on the road, he can plow it in the wintertime.
Yeah, it's connected. Yeah, if you're using your asphalt as your sidewalk / bike path, yeah.
So do we need to ask the attorney or somebody to redraft some stuff here? I don't know what else that's gonna domino into.
It will cause an effect from the potentially the stormwater management perspective too, where
Yeah.
Yeah,
they
more
were
hard
designed it
surface.
from
Yep.
a 24.
Well, then maybe we
They
should run
designed
it by our lawyer.
Or do we need, is the lawyer the right person or is Nick the right person to look at it?
I would say it's a lawyer if it falls in the ordinance perspective. I can, direct them one
You'll
way or
write the
another.
ordinance to
Yeah.
whatever we say it's supposed to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if he's not gonna know the engineering side of it.
No.
He's not gonna know.
I can talk to him about
I
that.
mean, I don't know if you want to take a look at our chapter 15 and with that in mind, and what else, if we did that, would need to be adjusted, because I'm sure that it's not an isolated incident, yeah.
Mhm.
When you're in Kennedy Heights, then we'll have a good amount of the place with smaller roads and then another portion with bigger roads.
Well, they've only done 16 out of 64 lots.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying, part of it's gonna be
Gotta start
different.
sometime.
Smallest.
Aren't they gonna have bike paths, walking paths also through there?
They do have.
They do have a walking path.
Yeah. I mean, geez, there's so
So-
much more to this. That's,
But once you change that, then you're gonna be stuck with that for all future.
Everything else,
So
yes.
keep that in mind too.
which is nice.
Yeah, I was just thinking from theirs where those, I don't know what the agreements were with the ponds. I would have to look into it because I know they designed those ponds
Oh,
for
yes.
phase 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And that includes impervious surface, and now you're
Yeah.
increasing your impervious surface.
And you try to take money, you're taking land away to maybe add 2 more houses and
But then on the other hand, word has it that some of that is over-engineered
Yeah.
anyway, so maybe
Yeah,
it's not as
potential.
bad as we think. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's all gotta be looked at.
That would be, his engineer has to look into that.
Yeah.
And supply the data.
So I guess you need to talk to Bill Cole and have him,
Well, or at least go through the ordinance and tell
Discuss
us what would need to change, and then I can take that to the attorney
yeah,
to actually get the ordinance,
okay.
and then put them in touch with each other as need be, but
Yeah, I
Get it
tell you
started.
right now, I wouldn't be willing to vote on this if my life depended on it. right now.
That's why we didn't vote. We were just
Yeah, we
talking
just
about
got
it.
it. This is a
See?
long-term process.
I mean, I don't,
See if there's interest
I can't
going
imagine
forward.
Kennedy Hills ever agreeing to any of this. I mean, seriously. Like you said, he's thinking in his mind,
He
he's
doesn't
got
have to
60.
agree to it.
I know that, but he's thinking I've got 64 lots to potentially develop. I can't give up 2 feet
16 feet.
or 16
Yeah,
feet,
I agree.
you know? I mean, it's
With
just
top end shoulders. and-
14.
Yeah, and that's, I've seen developers, they're gonna go straight to your ordinance, and then that's what they're gonna be fighting back and saying like,
Yeah.
this is what your ordinance says. I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah,
And then
so
there's
I mean, we
communities,
gotta do all the
municipalities.
investigation first.
Yeah, there's municipalities that don't even know what their ordinance are, haven't been updated, and they say, wait, what, that's in our ordinance?
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
They know why.
All right. We'll work on it.
Good conversation.
It's a start.
Good start. We gotta talk about it at some point. If you're ever gonna make a change. So next, we're going to discuss, consider amending Town of Cottage Grove Ordinance 17.02 regarding notification requirements for non-metallic mining renewal applications.
So I've
And it's,
been asking for this because the way the ordinance is written, I have to send mail notice to everybody within a half a mile of all the mining sites for all the renewals, even though, just like this last time, there was no changes to the operation plans, nothing. I think it makes sense to do that for a new mine, obviously, but every year to have to mail all those mailings to people when nothing is changing, it's just a renewal of a license. I guess it seems like excessive, and if anything, it's just inciting people over nothing new,
Yeah.
nothing changing. And so I asked him to rewrite this, and the way he drafted it is that for new ones, I would have to notify everybody within a half a mile, but for renewals without change from the prior year, I can provide notice at my own discretion, pretty much, is what it says, to owners of any property deemed appropriate in the public interest. So, you know, it's obviously notifying, but it takes out that half a mile, because that's a lot more notices than you think when you start thinking about where these pits are. And technically, I really probably should be notifying all the village residents for the Gaston Quarry every time, and think about how many that would be. I haven't been, but so it's, and nothing ever changes there. It's business as usual.
I don't see why we couldn't.
What do you think about the possibility, if you could get email addresses?
Well,
Develop the group and then do it by email.
well, I try to do that as much as, oh, that's the other thing I asked him to change in here. It always used to say mail, and I asked him to change it to notify, because then I can email if I have it, and mail the ones I don't. And that is also different in here. It does not say mail anymore. It says notify. Try to remember that anytime we change anything in the future, when it says mail, if it's not necessary by state law or something, that we use notify. Provide notice.
You shall notice.
Yeah, provide notice. So if you're okay with this, the thing to do would be to forward it to a public hearing before it's adopted.
I make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Fogger, second by Duclay, to put this on the next agenda for a public hearing.
Yep.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item, discuss, consider quote to resurface basketball courts. And what's the total on it?
We have 4 left.
$3,559.
Yep.
Is that the only people that asked, or?
No,
No,
the
this
4.
is finish them.
So yeah, we've been doing a couple each year, and I kind of did the most expensive ones first, and now we got 4 left, and this is what.
I'm saying, this is only, you only got one estimate from,
Yeah, these are the guys that have been doing it for us for
Yeah.
the last 10 years. I guess I haven't called like a home, and because these guys will do the lines and everything for us. They'll do the basketball court lines. So they can spray it the one day, and they'll crack fill, they'll patch holes, they'll do whatever.
we used Badger about 5 years ago, 5 or 6 years ago. They did my driveway at the same time we did the basketball
5 or
courts.
6 years ago, or was it 10 years ago?
Nah, it can't be 10, but anyway,
Time
whatever.
flies.
Yeah.
I've been here 8.
But they seem to do a good job, aren't?
Yeah, these guys do a
Okay.
really good job. And they sign it, and then they put ribbon around so then people don't walk across it, which is nice. And they're usually in and out in like 2 days. They'll have them all done and striped, and looks really good.
I make a motion, we do this.
Second.
Motion by Fogger, second by Williams to
I would say
approve
not to exceed
$3,600
$3,600.
for Seven Hills for the 4 basketball courts. And did we have anything left in parks?
That's why I had you bring it up in front, because I didn't think.
Do you want that money to
Yeah,
come
taken out of,
from
yeah,
undesignated?
undesignated.
And it's all right with the second?
Yes.
Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Discuss the use of the American Rescue Plan funds. And yes, we have applied, and we've gotten notice that it was received.
Right.
Should be getting money soon.
Any guesstimate? Is there a guesstimate on it?
The first one was
400,000.
over 350.
It was 400 the last I saw. But I don't know, because I didn't give them our budget numbers. And
Yeah.
But they've received it, that doesn't mean, who knows, but.
How soon they'll spend
Yeah.
it? They sounded like they were gonna make that first payment
at the
relatively
end of the
quick.
month, yeah.
And that's over like 4 years or something, or what?
No, we've got 4 years
26.
to
we
use
have
it all.
Yeah.
So it'd be undesignated basically after the first year then, or what?
You can use it all the way up to December 2024.
Yeah,
The time
December
frame.
31st of 24, we have to use it by. But we have a certain list as to what we can use it for.
It's just terrible.
It's not very much.
You know,
Improving access to infrastructure.
the, other than broadband, stormwater
Yeah,
on the Koshkonong Creek, I would
Yeah,
think would be
that's-
the two main items that we could use it for and be
yeah.
Fairly-
okay with.
Yeah.
You know, that's what they're going to do. And Dave Mule's here, he wants to talk about the Koshkonong.
Two things. Uses of
Don't
that.
have any idea about speed bumps or anything, or?
They don't work very well on the creeks. Tends to
Down
damage-
timber works pretty good.
Tends to damage crops.
It's called down timber.
We already have them. I've been trying to clear them out for years. Good segue, Mike. So a little background for you guys. I've been working at least 3 years on clearing the down trees in that creek with Steve Falter from Cap Water Trails and Randy Zukowski from Town of Deerfield predominantly. And we've created the Friends of Koshkonong Creek not-for-profit group, who hasn't really had any transactions yet, but at least we have that moniker that we can use. Going to some of the drainage board meetings, and especially the drainage board meeting at Deerfield, they had even some state guys at that meeting, and it sounded so not preposterous, but so overwhelming of what would have to happen to make any changes to the creek. It's especially when they get to some of the soft costs. So I'm thinking 4 things have to happen, and I've developed the 5th now. But first is get the trees out of there so the thing can flow. And with this drought, we've seen significant drops in the water, which is where it should be. The water level now is where it should be when it's high in some of those places. The second thing is to dredge it out really quick in an efficient manner, not with a big dredge. And obviously the county's proven that you can get permits for that stuff for 2 reasons. One, districts 8 and 9, they've done all that stuff, and the county's doing it on the O'Hara River. So there's no reason why DNR would block us from doing the creek. And if they do block us, they're gonna get their ass sued, big time from me. 3 is you have to eventually study the creek for what needs to be long-term, because we can't be doing this all the time. Just avoiding this whole creek issue, because it's our livelihood, and sometime something's gonna happen where it's gonna dam up and a lot of bridges, or something's gonna happen that's gonna be a lot of damage. Like the speed bumps. So that study could be really expensive, no offense. But I hate paying a lot of soft costs for stuff like that. I'd rather put it into infrastructure. The 4th thing would be to actually make the changes to the creek that are needed for long-term. And my time horizon, being on the Plan Commission, my time horizon is not 10 to 20 years, but it's 50 years. And number 5 is create it so it can be maintained forever and make it easy to maintain. To change it and then forget about it again is just pounding your head against the wall. So those 5
I'll be
things.
dead by then, though.
Okay.
I'll be dead. I won't have to worry about taking care of it.
Yeah,
What's the mentality then?
It's everybody's mentality on that, yes. So in sitting in that meeting, and I'm thinking about these soft costs, that's gonna be to create an inventory of what that creek is right now and what it should be in 50 years, could be well over 100,000, maybe $200,000. And I'm thinking over the last year, what could we do? Because I've actually had a University of Wisconsin study of my ground at the time, back in 96 and 97, of the big plan I want to do, the bioengineering thing. And I'm thinking the university could do that. And I'm reading an article in the State Journal a number of months ago, and I read about this university year thing. And it's pretty much what we need to do. And so developed a proposal, and I talked to Chris and Mike Schlobaum from the town of Deerfield, and I've talked to City of Sun Prairie, and I've written up a proposal, an RFP for the University Alliance. And came up, they think in this RFP thing, they think it would be typically $20,000 to $30,000. In talking to Gavin Luther, he was suggesting $20,000 for this proposal. So I got to thinking, okay, these parties come together. What can we do? Everybody's on board, surprisingly enough, which is really cool. So I said 5 from the town, Cottage Grove, 5 from Deerfield, 5 from City of Sun Prairie, the city, and 5 for the Friends of Koshkonong Creek. And since it's a fledgling organization, I'll guarantee that the Friends would come up with 5.
You think the City of Sun Prairie is gonna get money?
Yes.
You do, eh?
Yes.
You should be giving us a lot more money than that.
Yeah, I know.
You know that.
First things first, Mike. The city, I was at a CARPC meeting and testified, and Tom Veith was the engineer, and CARPC said, okay, you have to work with the downstream people, and that got approved, and I had calls into Tom Veith, and he never returned the calls. I finally went up to the ladder and talked to Aaron Oppenheimer, the city administrator, and within half an hour, I had a phone call from Tom Veith. He says, oh yeah, I was gonna call that guy today. Bullshit. He was. So both those guys are on board with this thing. I've got drafts out to Chris. So one of the things that I'd really like to see, whether or not we get any funds from the feds on this act, is the town to step up and with the $5,000, and that could be paid over 3 years. And so $1,300 a year is not too bad, or 16, whatever that is. That's not too bad an idea, because this would be a 50-year proposal. The university kids, it would be a project, class projects. They would take an inventory of what the creek is. They would interview all the affected parties, come up with a 50-year plan, design the creek what it needs to be, and then and sequence it, because it doesn't have to be all done at one time, and then write the report. And this is for a 3-year period, 2021 and 2024. The proposal, the RFP that I've already written up, has to be into Gavin by July 24th, I think, of this month, next month.
July 24th?
Yeah. I think it says in this RFP request.
Who's Gavin? Is who?
He's the administrator of this university.
Know you?
Yeah. He's in the ag area, I think, because his email is cows.org or something like that.
No, I think that's great.
Yeah, I don't see why we wouldn't want that.
Right. And the reason why you guys want to participate is because you guys are helping fund it. You guys help own the project. You get to have a lot of say of what's going on this. And we probably, my goal is to get other players downstream involved, including not only just Dane County, but also Jefferson County, obviously. So the second thing I want, especially, and it's come to my mind very quickly over the last couple of weeks, we've been working on the old Kenseth property lately, which is now Jordan. Matt Jordan owns that from BCP. And there was a lot of tree falls in there, tons of big ones. And looking at the sand, the stream bed, it's really, I'm amazed at the number of people saying how clear the creek is, which is a testament to things happening, I guess, good things happening. Engineers do good jobs, right? So it's pretty sandy in that one area, but it's also mucky. I'm thinking to do a really cool thing with that, especially with that money, is to do a quick dredge of maybe 3 to 4 feet wide, 2 feet deep, because that's what they went down, 2 feet. At least they went down 2 feet, and all the tile lines are working. If you interview all the farmers, they'll say that a lot of years ago, the tile lines were 14 inches, or the water's up 14 to 18 inches from what it used to be, and all the tile lines are exposed. Well, now they're all covered. That things aren't draining. So if we go down 2 feet, that should be a good start. All the trees are going to be cleared because we've done that. And I think if we can do find a a simple little dredge and shoot that as a high pressure stream out 50 feet, something out on the stream bank, so it's not piled high like it is right now. A lot of those, yeah, back in the field, a lot of those stream banks, especially over at Jordan, goes like this. It's really steep, and then back down. The stream's been eroding like crazy. It needs to have a nice angle, obviously, all the way down to the stream bottom. So I would really love to have you guys, and I would also entertain this with Deerfield. Mike's on board with this thing. If you think that the funds will cover that, because they're getting money too. If the two towns would partner on this thing, I would certainly help with the project, because it's a big deal to me and all the other farmers. Kendall's been flooded. Everybody around us has been flooded. If you know anything about the stream, it's going to come down faster now from Sun Prairie through the Oaks. And once it hits Baxter Road, it slows down. And that's why we have all this sediment, because it's come down from all the floods. You know, when I was having fun water skiing out there on my field at 2008, there was a side detriment that the creeks are coming up. So we need to get those things down. And I think we can do it very efficiently and cheaply for one of these little portable little things. That's would be a really quick answer. And then this thing is going to take a number of years to get done also. But this is a savior of over $200,000 if the kids can come up with it. The students, I shouldn't say kids. If the students can come up with a pretty good report, which I think they will.
How fast does the water come down the creek in the area there?
How fast does it come?
Yeah. How fast is it moving? I mean, it's got to be a lot faster than years ago, obviously.
It's helped in the last 3 years. It depends on how much water's in there.
But you're pouring, Sun Prairie is pouring tons of water in there.
4.3 million gallons a day.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's got to be way different than it was.
Yeah. Now in the middle of this drought, I'm amazed how far down it is, but there's still a good flow in the thing. I can show you a video when we opened up one just a couple days ago when we took that tree out the flow of it. It's got a pretty good flow to it. I always say is that, you know, for recreational purposes or you know, farming and everything, the bad news is City of Sun Prairie is putting down a lot of water.
Yeah.
The good news is City of Sun Prairie is putting down a lot of water if you want to make it recreational, because now you got a guaranteed flow on some of that. So that's one of the benefits that we can make this somewhat recreational on this whole thing. There are other groups that are cleaning out the area down near Cambridge. You probably might have seen that in the paper. We're going to go talk to those guys too, obviously, but we really need that. When the water comes down from Sun Prairie and goes past Baxter Road, it just levels out on this whole township. And that's just going to exacerbate our problem if we don't get it dredged. Big time. And right where we're working right now, it just goes into this channel and it needs to get cleaned out of there. Any questions for me?
So we have to have the funds obligated by December 31st of 2024. Then you have until December of 26 to have it actually done. So, you know, if we're working with two more towns or the university or whatever, as long as we have it obligated that we've
Well, for the 5,000, yeah, for the 5,000, there's no problem with this because that would fit perfectly. Yep. It fits very well into the program.
Right.
The $5,000, right? The dredging is going to be a multi-year project, obviously, because you can't do it all year long, but.
Right. You got to do it early before they plant the fields.
Well, a lot of those fields have canary grass on them. Up close, there's hardly anything up close to the creek that's planted up to the creek.
Okay.
A lot of it's covered already. So you wouldn't have a lot of.
Most of it's been flooded for.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Since 08.
For the stormwater and broadband.
Yeah. I used to disc down to that creek practically for Kendall's, and you can't even get down there right now because of the high water.
But those are the only two things that I could
see that they're offering that might fit for us to use this money for.
Yeah, I can't, you know,
Well, how does tourism and hospitality fit in?
Start having tours through your house, Mike.
Hmm?
You have tours out at your place there.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. What is the definition? I mean, here, we're just getting a little comment here. What is the definition of tourism and hospitality?
They're all a little vague to say the least.
Yeah, that's what
when they put it out. We've been going through some seminars, and our part, as you mentioned with storm sewer, I don't know if I want to burst a bubble or not. We heard, kind of read a little bit that it needs to be approved stormwater through the DNR funding program. So even if it works or doesn't work, I know there's going to be people on the back end checking and approving it. So it's something where it's pretty vague right now that it might not be clear still for another month or another few more months or longer than that, where how this money can be used or where it can be used exactly.
You have to write up the guidelines.
Yep. So I'm not saying that project won't work. I've heard mixed things and read into mixed things where that may not qualify. It may qualify.
yeah, but we got
I don't know if that answers your
$250,000 in undesignated funds that we could use $5,000 for, no problem.
That's clear up to you, yeah.
That's what I would propose right now, and then, you know, if at some time in the future they come up with, they say that we're allowed to use these funds for that, we can just throw it back in the key.
Right.
Yeah, for the RFP, I do need to include, on my write-up, I do need to include a letter of support from each municipality. And so I do need that enacted on or approved within a month.
You want to put it on the first agenda in July for approval again?
You can add that to the agenda.
Is the agenda looking much?
I don't think so at this point, because I think there's only one planning commission.
Yeah, so why don't we just do that then?
Ankles.
Oh, my God.
The Carly's gone.
They suggested getting a
My
community
knees are just as bad.
Yeah, it's not just the board, it's just to see what's out there, what needs. Yeah.
There you go.
I didn't hear all that.
And everybody down the Koshkonong.
And we can run it past the plan commission also, you know, for that.
Yeah.
What did you say? I didn't hear it all.
No, I was just saying that one thing I read about this money is to get more of the community involved, to see what other things out there are needed with town residents and stuff that maybe nobody here is thinking about.
Yep.
That would be of more need.
It says here, as far as tourism and stuff, as well as aid a planned expansion or upgrade of tourism, travel, or hospitality facilities delayed due to the pandemic. We've talked about, you know, upgrading our parks, you know, down below here. It seems like there would be a way of doing that.
I don't know that they would classify them as a destination.
But this one doesn't, well, but we're
try.
making ourselves a destination a little bit, you know?
Hospitality.
Yeah, so, I mean, maybe there's a way we could do those things. Hospitality is about what we do in our community to make it better for the people around here.
I am president of the Wisconsin Ag Tourism Association. And so anything you can do for ag tourism would be wonderful type of stuff.
What do you want?
I'm not so sure on that. I know what I want on the creek.
Okay.
And since I have a hospitality venue also, I know what I want, but I don't think you guys can help me with that one. Dane County.
Dane County seems to more into solar panels these days on farmland, not farming. Doesn't seem to be anymore.
No.
It's crazy.
Farming for energy.
I have a big client right in Vienna that will have to fight a big solar farm. Big dairy.
It's crazy.
And the county's kind of in favor of the solar panels, which is just nuts.
In what county?
Town of Vienna.
Oh, Vienna.
We're encouraging all the individuals in the town of Cottage Grove to get wells tested. And I thought of this various times because of the Dane County landfill that is right on our doorstep. And when there was flooding of Door Creek, and there was encouragement at that time to get wells tested that could have potentially been. Do we want to encourage?
Well, I think we could say that money is available from the town to test your well
Is that what one,
at no cost.
would that fall under here? Drinking.
Well, that'd be drinking wastewater infrastructure,
Infrastructure, but.
or even
No.
septic systems, you know.
We all have to do that every
Looking at-
years.
Yeah, but
But,
I think a lot of the companies are signing off really without checking your,
They're just pumping them.
yeah, they're just pumping them out. I mean, there would be some good things that people maybe don't have the money to do it, could do it.
Called the
Right.
Vorak, they
And
still
that's-
climb in them.
pardon?
So called the Vorak down there, they still climb in them.
You couldn't.
Yes, they do.
I know, he would come home and he was in mine, I was like, oh my gosh.
That's what they get paid for.
They do.
Don't forget it.
Nick, do you know how they define infrastructure?
Well, that's where I was getting back at. When we were looking into it, they were saying your infrastructure for your sewer and water has to fall underneath these DNR programs typically. And they've been not really looking at it from a township, but they've been looking at it from a city and village.
Yeah.
They've been looking at, from the infrastructure for your sewer main, your water main, and saying, looking at it from that perspective, saying, if you're reconstructing this project with sewer and water, it needs to meet these requirements where it has to have certain, it's called American Iron and Steel,
Right.
Davis Bacon, and those are the requirements when you get federal money or Wisconsin money from the DNR to reconstruct your sewer and water. And that's what a lot of the seminars have been directed towards when it's been going, but a lot of it's real vague, as we mentioned as well too, where they've shoved it out a lot faster than actually having information in their pocket to give out. They said, hey, we want to get money out. This is going out, everyone. We got money for everyone here. And that's what
Towns
they're,
Association needs to lobby for them to think
Yeah.
more along the lines of what towns can do with it. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's just it. Everything I read here sounds like something that a city or a village would.
Yeah, I agree.
that's what we're seeing a lot of it too, directed towards them.
But yet there's supposed to be money for us. Well, what are we supposed to do with it?
Yeah.
I think Mike's idea of hospitality, you know.
Well, it seems
would
like
be-
it's gray area.
One thing on this, if it's stormwater or runoff, so since '08 up to this year until we had the drought, if you go down Vilas Lane, Bonnie, that ditch line was completely full. So it's clogged. It's gonna get worse because that field on the west side of Bus, that 40 acres is now village. And it's gonna take years, but it's gonna be developed. Then you got that pond at that school. Everything's running. And I support this person's 100% with the creek and Koshkonong, but Door Creek, you think about that. And that stormwater coming off to the west side of the township, Nondale Heights is underwater and it's plugged at Marx's field on both sides. It goes down and it's getting clogged. You know, so your west side of that township has been very, very wet. And then the ditch line it's finally dry. That water table is so high. Nowhere for that water to go right now. I don't know if that's something, I mean, in that Door Creek, it would need, you know, I'd love to see attention to that too.
It's almost into the sewerage area, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sewerage area ends right up out in the field behind seminary.
Yeah, I mean, these creeks here they carry this water away. It's very important. I mean,
They've been neglected.
They're gonna take the water to the sewer.
No, oh God, no.
But that's, I mean, it's at some, you know, I mean,
It's
for
almost
years, it's been underwater.
It's a stormwater project. They could be
Those
used for.
ditches have just been pumped full of water. because everyone's pumping their
Creek needs
basement
Cleaning too.
and it can't get down,
Creek needs cleaning.
can't get to the
No,
west.
For the last 4
I've
years,
noticed
been
it.
cattails in the field there too.
Especially downstream
Yeah,
from that bridge.
Bob can't even, he's
School
first
bus.
time he could disc it.
That's- Yeah.
R.D. Boyd's field finally got planted.
Yeah.
Okay. Continue working on it. And on the 6th, we'll have it on the agenda then for your letter.
Okay, thank you.
Moving on to Public Works Department.
Oh, we had a fun little project last Friday. We did trees with the Boy Scouts. That was kind of neat. It was fun. And troop leader, I guess, he asked for some help from Culver's or whatever, so they donated lunch to everybody that was involved, so.
Did you get lunch?
Yeah, it's kind of nice. I didn't expect it at all. We got all done. He had 4 bags of Culver's there, and I was like, wow. So that was kind of neat. Been mowing ditches, got almost all the way done. We got to get over on the east end of town yet.
I got a question. I'm mowing the ditches. Now, and I don't know the guy, but you know him. He doesn't mow his ditch. And it's all overgrown. And I think it's just because it's so steep.
Where
It's
at?
on
On which street?
right where the village joins my subdivision.
At in Sandpiper?
Yeah. He's right at the corner of Sandpiper.
Oh, I'm Morning Dove there.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Morning Dove.
Yeah, I'll mow that when I'm up that way.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
I hit it once this
Yeah,
year.
you don't have to
Oh,
mow.
did you?
It's growing back already.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I go into the subdivisions and hit all those little spots.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Do we go and mow mine then?
No.
If it's, well, if it's the right of way,
If it's in the right
if
of
it's in the
way.
right of way, you don't have to mow it.
No.
Yeah, we've got people that stop mowing the right.
In front of my
way.
house, I don't have to mow that. The
County does.
county would mow it.
Once
you
or
know.
twice. They've been by once this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one path though, I see.
Yeah, right. That's all it was.
Be nice if people,
They'll mow it
I
all
would
up
mow
the
it.
fall.
I'm
but-
just teasing.
No, but I'm serious, most people would mow it.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just curious is if you mow that individual lot, then
Just that ditch bank.
Just that ditch.
Just the ditch.
Just the ditch.
Yeah, it's kind of steep there. I don't think you can put a rider on it.
okay.
Then we got 4 out of the 6 culverts installed last week. Hopefully next week we'll get the last 2 done.
The gravel you put in was top notch. I mean, I rode over that the
Nice
next
and
day
smooth, isn't it?
with the tractor. It's like, didn't even have to slow down. That was really good.
Yeah, we'll get that out of there and get a wedge in there before we blacktop, but
Great job on the one close to us also.
yeah, I hope.
Mhm.
See what else we got going. Well, we weren't mowing parks because of the drought. We got a little rain, so we're mowing this week.
Mhm.
Sort of nice though, not having to mow all the time, huh?
It was nice. We got a lot of stuff done. And we got some other stuff done. And we're gonna be trimming trees here, probably another week or 2. We got a request to trim a couple roads and they need it. Single Cow and Gaston both need it. And we'll probably go through Damascus, I noticed. Now that all the cars are going through there, you go through there nice and slow. Because when I was up there, I followed probably 10 cars on Damascus last week. You know, it was just bumper to bumper and you're only going about 15. So I don't know why. I mean, at least that was during the day when I went through. But yeah, there's a lot of low hanging trees we need to trim up. And that'll slow cars down this summer. We get in there trimming. So we'll be blocking the road big time. That's all I had.
So do we want to put the signs back on either end of Damascus?
Yeah, I'll put them in up tomorrow.
Okay, shouldn't. Moving to the clerk's office update.
I don't really have anything.
Board reports and communications. I got a thank you letter from the Wisconsin Department of Transportation for the letter that I sent for 12 and 18 and AB.
What about it?
supporting 12 and 18 and AB, the feds. Tomorrow evening at 6, Lions are gonna plant the 2 trees out here between here and the fire station parking lot. There's 2 stakes. And said they're okay with the location.
What kind of trees?
Those were Royal Red Oak, I think.
Ooh, nice.
I think that was the name of it. We approved it weeks ago, so. And then I'm hosting a meeting on the 28th for Vinnie's subdivision so that they can come and elect their officers for their homeowners association. Told them to come here.
One of the homes in that subdivision is on Parade of Homes.
That means it didn't sell, that's all that
Oh,
means.
no, actually, the people are already living there.
Yeah.
So why is it in the Parade of Homes? That doesn't even make sense.
Just some builders
We
showing
spent a
up.
lot of money on
Yeah.
fixtures.
They must be giving them some money to go through the house, apparently.
Spending big bucks.
Yeah.
And I think some of their landscaping is going to
Actually,
disappear afterwards.
I think it's that one
Some
new
big
one
pots
down
that they could then.
Oh, really? Yeah.
The brown.
They have to do
Yeah,
so
that
much landscaping or shrubs, trees.
In the covenants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's all that I had. Emergency government.
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the things we've been talking about with the county is that if there's a major storm, where would we have places to put, trees that are down in the creeks?
Yep.
And where we would put dumpsters and so on and so forth, so people could bring stuff to those locations. So that's another part of what you're sort of talking about during the storm. So, and there apparently it's going to be some money for that even. But, that could be the COVID money for all I know. But then we're going to order a printer, and then we had a computer that went down. That was like, what was that, $600 or something?
Yeah, he was given a little discount.
Eric is on there, but now I'm starting to think, we can pay for this, but it seems to me now that maybe the village should be paying part of this. You know what I mean?
Are they gonna use it?
Well, I presume we're all using the same location.
They better pay their half.
Eric's one of the guys that he's using it or would be using it. And the printer, we need a new printer down there. But we did approve paying for the printer. And for some jackets, those things down the basement, that they're just a vest with nothing on them. That doesn't say emergency government or anything. So we approved paying up to $700 and some for those 2 items. But as far as fixing the one computer, we do have money to do it. But it seems to me we should, I'll probably call the lieutenant there and tell him we need some money. So
Yeah.
I'll do that.
Deer Grove EMS Commission.
We met last Thursday. We interviewed the 3 firms of the 4 that had applied. And it was a unanimous agreement to hire public administration associates. They're from Whitewater. The total fee for the EMS study and the Cottage Grove Volunteer Fire Department study is $30,400. The village will cover the fire department study entirely on their own, and the EMS will be shared.
Why is the village covering everything on their own?
For the
fire.
Oh, fire. Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah.
And it was good that Nick from the fire chief was in on the conversation, the questioning as well. And he agreed in the choice that we had made. So,
They're gonna do both.
yes.
Yes. They're doing both. That was about it.
That was pretty much it.
Biggest thing. So we're down to item 7.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Place, second by Williams for adjournment. It's non-debatable. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
BB there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that runs into it. Between Boston and Biles, all that water runs over to Sour Creek.
What should I do with this? Just hang on to it for information.